Well. You have entered the lair of the notorious Vic. Today, we're going to be talking about designing healers and my approach in my board game devlog. In the background, you're going to see some concept art for one of the heroes in the game. I'm mostly working on its staff in the video. I am definitely aware it's not up to speed, but it's just going to be a placeholder piece of art until I pitch to a publisher. So, yeah, I put that in the background. If you guys have any other ideas of things you want to see in the background, just let me know. And in the background, the piece of art I'm working on is the hero called Shifty Illusionist. So, perfect background illustration for this video because Shifty Illusionist is a healer to an extent. Before I dive into healer design, I should refresh you on the rules. And if you saw my last video, keep in mind I'm also going over the rules because I've playtested a few times and I've made a few changes. So, this game, working title, I know, is intended to feel like a hero shooter, but be simple and intuitive so that people of all ages can play. It does this by having two teams of heroes on a hex grid and, more importantly, incorporating cooldowns. Cooldowns are cards, and when you play them, they go underneath your team's cooldown pile, which has a number of blank cards that match its delay value, which then get taken from the top and put onto the bottom at the start of each of your team's turns. That way, after a number of turns equal to its delay value, you'll get that card back. Additionally, when you play a cooldown card with a delay value of 1 or more, it's going to charge your supercharges. And keep in mind, now, after some playtesting, I've determined that it's better if all your charges charge at once. Also keep in mind that some heroes have multiple supercharges. So, back to healers. I know Mercy mains are going to hate me for saying this, but I think that healers should never be stuck holding a heal button. At least this is true for my game. I'm aware that in many other games it's very needed, but I don't think it's needed in all games. And I think it's in a lot more games than it should be. Now, I also think it's especially true for my game, because as opposed to normal hero shooters, or actual hero shooters, characters in my game have about 5 to 9 health. 5 being kind of low, 9 being really high, 6 being a pretty standard number. Additionally, if heroes don't spend their higher cooldown cards, then they're not going to deal a lot of damage. Usually it's like 1 or 2 a turn. So if a hero even has the ability to hold down heal, it's kind of going to stretch out fights a lot. And so I found that my heroes in my game, or more specifically my healers in my game, feel a lot more interesting when they have a lot of different utility pieces they can play. Now, that doesn't mean that their utility can't also be healing. Perfect example, I have a hero that I'm calling Helpful Mage for now. And Helpful Mage has a cooldown called Gust Spell, where they push all opponents' heroes in a line 1 space away, and also heal all of their allied heroes. Now, if I were to take the same delay value and stick it on a card that just healed, it would have to heal a lot more. But at the cost of giving this hero a lot more utility, I've also given them a very interesting card to play with, because now your Helpful Mage is trying to find the right space where they can line up 2 or 3 different heroes in a row, and maybe they want to push back an aggressive frontliner, or They want to push an aggressive diver too far into the back line. I think that allows for a lot of versatility without adding a lot of complexity. Helpful Mage is actually one of the lower complexity healers that I have. And I do think it is still important to have main healers who are able to crank out heals. But I don't think that their heal button should just be something that you hold down the whole time. As an example, in my game, I have another hero called Devoted Paladin. Now, Devoted Paladin, if you were to take a look at what I have so far for this character, you would not really tell me that this is a main healer. But if you were to play a few games, you might change your mind. Because Devoted Paladin has multiple abilities that lets it get devotion markers on itself. And then every turn, it can spend 3 devotion markers to heal an ally within melee range by 1 or itself. Now, this might not sound like, this healer that's going to be pumping out heals every turn. It sounds like heals every few turns. But with the right abilities and the right teamwork, Devoted Paladin can actually heal at least 1 just about every single turn. And on the turns it can't, it has, I believe, 1 or 2 abilities that allows it to heal just in case it's out of devotion markers. Now also keep in mind that healing by 1 does sound really low, but in my game, where you have around 6 HP, healing by 1 every turn is pretty viable. And that wraps up my overview of my opinion on healers and how I'm approaching them in my board game. Now, if you disagree with this, or if you fully agree with this, feel free to let me know. I'm actually very interested to get feedback on this because, as much as I don't personally feel like it's a very controversial opinion, I don't really talk about it. I just kind of play games and I see that the healers with more utility are people's favorites. Like Gambit, when he first came out in Marvel Rivals, I couldn't even lock him in a ranked game half the time. And I'm not super high ranked, obviously, but that still shows that people are very excited to play this new hero with all this utility. Now, also, I know this is going to sound cringe, but I swear it's the mic. If you can like, comment, and or subscribe, that would be really helpful. Maybe you would heal me. Anyways, next week, I'm going to be going over what healer designs shined and which ones were much less shiny in my playtests. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll make all these utility heroes and everyone will die right off the bat. But if that sounds interesting, make sure to either mark it on your calendar, set a really long timer, or subscribe and turn on notifications. Whichever one sounds easier, really. And hopefully, I'll see you guys then.